ever feel like you're whispering your soul's deepest truth into a hurricane, pouring your heart into a connection that seems met not with open arms, but with a frantic, bewildering retreat? What if I told you that very retreat, that maddening resistance you've wept over, analyzed to shreds, and maybe even cursed under your breath, is actually the precise, intricate mechanism orchestrating his inevitable return? Not despite his running, but because of it, that the force pushing him away is secretly the very gravity pulling him home. It sounds like a cosmic joke, doesn't it? The kind that leaves you equal parts exasperated and strangely hopeful. But what if it wasn't just spiritual platitude? What if it was the unseen physics of a soul bond reaching its critical, undeniable crescendo? This final stage before union isn't about decoding mixed signals or manipulating outcomes. It's about the beautiful, terrifying moment when the energy required to maintain the illusion of separation finally bankrupts his entire system. His running isn't proof the connection is failing. It's proof of its immense, undeniable power, the sheer force it takes to resist it. His frantic energy isn't pushing you away. It's burning the very fuel that sustained the separation. Like a star collapsing under its own immense weight, his resistance reaches a sacred saturation point, a point where the structure holding the distance must implode, not because you chased harder, but because the architecture of avoidance simply can no longer bear its own load. His surrender isn't a choice made lightly. It's an inevitable collapse into the profound, resonant field of wholeness and stability you've cultivated within yourself. While he fought the current, you became the calm, deep ocean. His running, that frantic paddling, it wasn't taking him further away. It was exhausting every last ounce of energy he could muster against the pull, making the final surrender not a defeat, but the only possible path left toward peace, towards coherence, towards you. Ready to discover how this unseen gravity works its inevitable magic, how his very cells start conspiring for union, and how your anchored presence becomes the only true north his storm-tossed spirit can recognize. The journey home is closer and far more mysterious than you think. Let's talk about exhaustion. Not the kind you fix with a nap and a strong coffee, though heaven knows you've had those days too. This is a deeper fatigue, a soul-level weariness that settles into the very marrow of the divine masculine runner as he approaches the final bend before union. You've heard the platitudes. He's scared. He's healing. He's got commitment issues. True enough, maybe on the surface, but beneath that, it's not just psychology, it's physics. Imagine him trying to hold back the tide with a colander. That's the futility we're really dealing with here in this sacred saturation point. Think about the sheer energy expenditure required for sustained resistance against a twin flame bond. It's not passive avoidance, it's active, relentless pushing away. Every denial of the soul recognition humming in his chest. Every suppression of the memory of your eyes that feels etched into his cells. Every conscious choice to turn left when every quantum fiber screams to turn right towards you. His energy field isn't just tired, it's running a deficit, a spiritual overdraft. Picture a bank account constantly hemorrhaging funds, joy, peace, connection, to maintain the elaborate fiction that separation is possible or even desirable. How long can anyone sustain that? How long before the reserves are bone dry? This isn't about him suddenly waking up one Tuesday morning, slapping his forehead, and declaring, "Right, time to commit." That's the fantasy. The miracle is far more profound, far more inevitable. It's the moment the energy required to keep running exceeds his entire capacity to generate it. The weight of the resistance he's carrying, the fear, the doubt, the mental gymnastics justifying the distance, becomes heavier than gravity itself. His system, that intricate network of mind, body, spirit, and emotion, simply buckles, collapses. Not under your pressure, love, but under the crushing, unsustainable burden of his own resistance. It implodes, like a star collapsing in on itself under its own mass, creating not destruction, but a new density, a new potential. His frantic paddling stops, not because he sees the shore, but because his arms simply won't lift anymore. Exhaustion becomes surrender. Resistance becomes impossible. Energetically bankrupt, kaput. And where does that collapse land him? Right into the gravitational field you've been steadily cultivating through your own inner work. Your focus, your healing, your embodiment of wholeness. It wasn't just for you. It was you building a stable, resonant frequency, a calm harbor in the storm he was generating. While he was burning energy fighting the tide, you were becoming the shore, solid, unmoving, deeply rooted. Your stillness, your acceptance, not resignation, but profound knowing, creates this low-level, irresistible hum. A hum that resonates with the deepest truth he carries within, buried beneath layers of fear. It's not a siren song luring him to wreck. It's the quiet, persistent echo of his own soul, reminding him where home is. When his resistance finally hits that sacred saturation point and crumbles, the pull towards that frequency, towards you, embodying union, isn't a choice he makes. It's the only direction left that doesn't require Herculean, unsustainable effort. It's the path of least resistance, finally, towards the truth. It's like trying to hold a marble perfectly still on the top of a glass bowl. The slightest tremor, the faintest breath, and whoosh, down it rolls. Your unwavering presence, your embodiment of union consciousness, that's the smooth, polished curve of the bowl. His chaotic, resistance-fueled energy, that's the trembling hand trying to defy gravity. Eventually, inevitably, physics wins. The marble surrenders to the curve. His resistance surrenders to the sacred geometry of your bond. He can't resist because resistance, at this saturation point, defies the fundamental laws of his own soul's energy. It's become absurd, pointless, utterly exhausting in a way that transcends the physical and touches the existential. So, when you feel impatient, when the silence stretches thin, remember this. He's not avoiding union out there. He's exhausting the very possibility of avoiding it. Every moment of his resistance is another coin dropped into the cosmic meter, ticking closer to the inevitable time-expired signal. Your job isn't to chase or plead or decode mixed signals. It's simply to be. Be the shore, be the bowl, be the unwavering frequency. Hold the space, tend to your own garden. The saturation point isn't a punishment for him, it's a mercy, a divine exhaustion that forces the surrender his soul craves, but his fear fights. Trust the physics, trust the exhaustion, trust the inevitable, beautiful collapse into the wholeness you both are. He's not running from you anymore. He's running headlong into his own energetic bankruptcy. And bankruptcy, darling, is where the old structures crumble to make way for something truly new and solid. Ready to explore what happens when his very cells start staging a rebellion against that tired old resistance. That's where things get really interesting. Let's talk about betrayal. Not the dramatic kind, with slammed doors and tearful accusations. No, this is far more insidious, far more interesting. This is the quiet rebellion happening right now, beneath the surface of his conscious resistance, within the very architecture of his being. His mind? Oh, his mind might be spinning elaborate tales of doubt, weaving intricate webs of not ready, too complicated, maybe later. His ego might be clinging white-knuckled to the familiar shores of separation, but deep within the silent, liquid darkness of his biology, a different story is unfolding. A story written not in thoughts, but in atoms, in mitochondria, in the quiet hum of cellular memory. This isn't just soul recognition. This is soul-level body memory, a visceral, undeniable remembrance etched into the marrow of his existence, and it's staging a magnificent, silent coup against his carefully constructed walls. Think about it. We carry the past in our bodies, don't we? The phantom ache in an old injury on a rainy day. The inexplicable calm that washes over you in a certain forest, like you've breathed that air before. The way a scent can catapult you decades back in an instant. This isn't poetry. It's biology whispering history, neurotransmitters firing pathways laid down long ago, epigenetics switching genes on or off based on ancestral echoes. Your body is a living archive. Now amplify that 1,000-fold for a twin flame bond. This connection isn't just emotional or spiritual, it's bio-spiritual, it's encoded, it's cellular. When you two first collided, it wasn't just hearts that recognized each other. It was a symphony of cellular receptors, hormonal cascades, and neural networks lighting up with the sheer, shocking familiarity of home. His conscious mind, bless its logical, fearful heart, might have slammed on the brakes, but that cellular imprint, that deep somatic signature of wholeness felt when near you, that doesn't just vanish, it goes dormant, it hibernates, but it remembers. Here's where your magic, your work, becomes the catalyst. When you do the deep dive, when you cultivate radical self-love, when you anchor into your divine feminine sovereignty, when you heal your own wounds and step into genuine wholeness, you aren't just radiating a nice vibe. You become a walking, breathing trigger for that dormant cellular memory within him. Imagine it like this. You're emitting a specific, complex frequency, the frequency of healed, integrated, united consciousness. It's the energetic equivalent of a perfectly remembered scent from a childhood home, a melody half forgotten that suddenly floods the body with emotion. It's subtle, it's persistent. It bypasses the noisy chatter of his thinking mind entirely and goes straight to the body's intelligence, to the felt sense. So while his conscious self is busy arguing logistics or nursing old fears, his cells are stirring. They're whispering, remember this? Remember the rightness, the peace, the sense of belonging that felt biological? It starts as a low hum, a subtle dissonance. He might feel inexplicably restless near you or find his thoughts drifting back in quiet moments with a peculiar intensity he can't logic away. He might experience sudden surges of emotion, seemingly out of nowhere, or physical sensations, a warmth in the chest, a tingling awareness when your energy is near, even if you're miles apart. His body is literally recalibrating towards the memory of wholeness you embody. It's like his biology is trying to pull him back into alignment with a truth his mind resists. The discomfort of not being near you, energetically or physically, starts to feel wrong, off kilter, like wearing shoes on the wrong feet. His resistance isn't just mentally exhausting anymore, though it is gloriously so, as we talked about before. It starts to feel physically dissonant, unnatural, like his very flesh is protesting the separation. This is the exquisite, unavoidable pressure of soul-level body memory. It's not you manipulating, it's not destiny forcing his hand, it's the undeniable biological imperative of his own being recognizing its counterpart. His cells know you. They crave the energetic homeostasis, the profound sense of rightness that comes only in the resonant field of your combined presence, a field you're holding steady through your own embodiment. When he finally surrenders, it won't feel like losing a battle. It will feel like coming home to himself, like his body can finally exhale after holding its breath for a lifetime. The mind's resistance crumbles not just under fatigue, but under the sheer weight of biological truth screaming from within. He literally can't resist because resistance means denying the wisdom of his own flesh, his own blood, his own cellular knowing. It's a mutiny he cannot quell. So, darling, when the silence stretches or the distance feels vast, remember this secret revolution happening beneath the surface. Your wholeness isn't passive. It's a powerful, silent broadcast activating the deepest remembrance within him. Tend to your garden, embody your light, be the steady, resonant note. His body is listening even when his mind is shouting. His cells are remembering even when he's trying to forget. This reunion isn't just written in the stars. It's encoded in the very fabric of his being, waiting for your frequency to turn the key. And trust me, when that cellular memory fully awakens, it makes the mind's resistance look like a flimsy paper fortress in a hurricane. Speaking of irresistible forces, ever wonder what happens when your anchored presence becomes the only stable ground in the storm of his own making? Now that's a power worth understanding. Let's talk about chaos. Not the fun, confetti in the air kind, but the internal kind. The divine masculine runner? His inner world isn't just busy. It's often a swirling vortex of conflicting energies, unhealed masculine wounds, wrestling with spiritual callings, societal pressures, tangling with soul-deep desires, fear doing a frantic tango with undeniable recognition. It's less a mind and more a poorly organized filing cabinet caught in a hurricane. He runs not just from the intensity of the connection, but from the sheer dissonance it amplifies within himself. His resistance isn't merely a wall against you. It's a desperate, flailing attempt to impose some kind of order on the internal storm. And that, darling, is where your profound inner work becomes not just healing, but an act of silent, irresistible alchemy. This is frequency anchoring. You see, when you do the deep, often gritty work of inner union, when you reconcile your own masculine drive with your feminine flow, when you heal the fractures of self-doubt and step into radical self-acceptance, When you cultivate emotional sovereignty so deep that his running feels like distant weather, not your personal storm, you aren't just achieving personal peace. You are generating a coherent field, a field of profound energetic stability. Think of it less like a lighthouse beaming outwards. That implies effort, projection, and more like a mountain, solid, unshakable, radiating a silent, grounding presence simply by being its massive, rooted self. This coherence isn't loud, it's potent in its stillness. It's the difference between a single, pure, sustained note and a cacophony of discordant sounds. Now imagine his chaotic energy field, fragmented, dissonant, vibrating at conflicting frequencies, drifting consciously or unconsciously into the sphere of your anchored, coherent field. What happens? Physics happens. Entrainment. It's the phenomenon where a stronger, more stable rhythm naturally influences and pulls weaker, irregular rhythms into sync. Think of a room full of chaotic pendulums. Introduce one large, steadily swinging pendulum. Over time, almost magically, the smaller ones begin to synchronize with the dominant rhythm. That's you. Your stabilized frequency isn't chasing his chaos. It's offering a resonant point of reorganization. His scattered energy isn't being attacked. It's being gently, irresistibly invited towards coherence, towards peace, towards the very stillness his soul craves but his mind fears. This is why proximity, even energetic proximity, becomes so potent in the final stage. When he's near you, physically, emotionally, or even just thinking of you while you're anchored in this state, he experiences a subtle, profound shift. It's not necessarily fireworks, though those might come later. It's a deep, cellular sigh. A sensation of, this. The mental noise doesn't vanish instantly, but it loses its frantic edge. The internal arguments quieten, not because they're resolved by logic, but because they suddenly feel irrelevant, small, against the backdrop of the profound calm you radiate simply by existing in your wholeness. His resistance, fueled by inner turmoil, suddenly feels like screaming into a vast, serene canyon. Pointless, exhausting, deeply uncomfortable. Why? Because resisting you now means resisting the only stable ground available. Resisting the only frequency offering respite from his own internal hurricane. It's not that you're pulling him, it's that everything else feels like chaos compared to the profound sense of rightness emanating from your field. Think of it like tuning forks. His energy is a jumble of forks clanging discordantly. Yours is a single fork singing a pure, clear note. When brought near, the discordant forks want to resonate with that pure tone. It's their natural state seeking expression. His resistance becomes the effort of preventing his own energy from naturally syncing with the harmony you embody. And that effort, it becomes excruciating. It's like trying to hold your breath underwater while someone hands you an oxygen mask. The sheer biological imperative to breathe becomes overwhelming. His soul's imperative to find coherence, to find peace, becomes overwhelming against the backdrop of your anchored presence. This is the ultimate, rarely spoken power move. Becoming so profoundly at peace within yourself that your mere existence offers the divine masculine, the one thing his chaos desperately seeks but cannot create alone. Deep, resonant stability. His surrender isn't just to you, it's a collapse into the energetic coherence you've mastered. He stops running not because he's caught, but because he finally finds a harbor calm enough to drop anchor. His resistance crumbles not under pressure, but under the sheer weight of its own futility in the face of the profound peace you offer simply by being whole. He can't resist because resistance means actively choosing the torment of his own storm over the profound sanctuary of your stillness. So, when the journey feels long, remember this: your inner work is building an empire of calm, a sovereign state of serenity. Tend to it fiercely, cultivate that inner silence, embody that unshakable peace. Because the moment his chaotic energy truly brushes against the profound coherence of your field, the illusion of separation doesn't just crack, it dissolves in the face of an undeniable, resonant truth. He'll seek your frequency not as a prize to be won, but as the only port in his storm. And the beauty of that reunion, it's not an ending, but the beginning of a whole new harmonic, a symphony finally playing in tune, ready to explore how this sacred coherence transforms not just the reunion, but the very fabric of the relationship that blossoms after the running stops. Now that's where the real magic unfolds. So where does this leave you, standing at the precipice of what feels like eternity? Not waiting, never merely waiting, you are becoming. While his resistance plays out its final, inevitable act, that grand cosmic drama of avoidance meeting its expiration date, you are doing something far more profound than marking time. You are crystallizing, solidifying into a frequency so pure, so unshakably real, that the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around your resonance. Think of it not as waiting for a train, but as forging the very tracks from stardust and sovereignty while the old station crumbles behind you. His return isn't a reward you earn through suffering. It's the natural, gravitational consequence of you embodying wholeness. You stop summoning the tide and become the ocean, deep, vast, unmoved by surface storms. And within that profound depth, something ineffable stirs, a silent homing signal, broadcast not from need, but from completion. It's the quiet hum of a lighthouse being light, not desperately flashing it. This is the sacred physics they never mention. When you cease contorting yourself to fit the shape of his absence, when you occupy your own skin with such fierce, tender authenticity that it sings, that's when the dissonance within him becomes unbearable. Not because you're louder, but because your stillness amplifies his own inner chaos until peace becomes his only viable refuge. You, your presence, the sanctuary of your being. Does it require patience? Oh, darling, in a world addicted to instant gratification, it demands the kind of patience that feels like sculpting mountains with a feather. Some days you'll feel like you're whispering into a void, rearranging spiritual deck chairs while the ship seems adrift. That's the messy, human heart of it. Honor the frustration. Let it be the friction that polishes your resolve, not the anchor that drowns it. Remember, the caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly while dissolved in the chrysalis. It only knows the imperative to become. Your becoming is just as irrevocable, just as coded into the fabric of existence. While he exhausts every futile strategy of escape, you are quietly mastering the art of existing as the destination itself. This final stretch isn't about decoding his silence or orchestrating a reunion. It's about recognizing you are already home. The love you seek, it's not out there waiting to complete you. It's the echo of your own wholeness, resonating back, pulling its counterpart through the chaos. His eventual step across the threshold isn't him finding you. It's him finally recognizing himself within the sanctuary you've built. Brick by inner peace, brick, breath by anchored breath. So tend your inner garden with the fierce tenderness of someone cultivating a miracle. Because you are. The miracle isn't his return. It's the unassailable, radiant truth of you standing complete. And from that space, union isn't a desperate grasp. It's the effortless merging of two rivers, finally finding their shared, inevitable sea. The dawn is already breaking within you. How brightly will you let it shine? What sacred architecture might your next breath build?